Thank you to all of you who attended yesterday and are back today for more info. Again, we've tried to make these nuggets of knowledge focused on one topic and tried to make them brief given some of your feedback. We do appreciate at the end of these nuggets if you can scan the QR code or we send out the link, go in and give us feedback on the surveys that way. So today's topic is going to be presented by Tammy Bennett. Most of you know her. And Tammy has been gracious enough to take some of the feedback that we have gotten over the last several months regarding the online registration. So we all know that the reproductive health program moved pretty quickly at the beginning of the shutdown with this pandemic to online registration. And I've heard from a number of you over the last several months um, how well received it was and how much you liked it. And could we do this for all of our services? And with Tammy's help, she was able to do that. And so we really felt like, even though it's a lot of information, given what we're starting tomorrow, the information we got yesterday, and that the nugget was really supposed to be later, that we should push this out sooner rather than later, just because we know that the COVID numbers are increased in many areas. We know that a lot of you have had COVID, have family members that had COVID, and not all have recovered as well as others. So we really felt like this was a great opportunity to push this out sooner and decrease, not only give our clients the opportunity to register online beforehand, but also decrease the amount of people spending time in the health units face to face with our staff. So with that, I'll turn it over to Tammy to run through what she has been able to build out for us. Tammy?
Thank you, Deborah. So I'm very excited to be here and present the online registration. So what is online registration? And let's talk about how it's different than what you've been doing already. The online registration is a process just of communication, and it's a digital communication instead of a face-to-face communication. So with online registration, the patient can choose which program and type of appointment that they need. So instead of this just being for telehealth, this is now for in-person, this is for telehealth, this is for all programs except for WIC, because WIC doesn't use the EHR. The LDH online registration within the REDCap will allow all of the registration data to be obtained before the visit, including, of course, the copies of the ID, income, insurance card, front and back. One of the main benefits is it decreases the face-to-face time with clerical staff and helps protect us during this time of the pandemic. It decreases also the total in-visit time. So if a lot of the registration can be done ahead of time, then the total visit time for the patient is going to be greatly reduced if they are an in-person visit. The client can also choose the program and the type of visit to ease on the scheduling burden. We've heard a lot from the clerical staff, well, I don't want to make a mistake and schedule them for telemedicine when they're not that type of visit. And so this is one of those surveys that branches logic, and we're going to talk about that a little later. Depending on what the patient chooses, it will offer telemedicine if they qualify or if that visit qualifies from a telemedicine. The patient can also choose whether they want to opt in for telehealth or not, depending on that type of visit. And it obtains the LDH consent for treatment and services, and also the telehealth consent if applicable. So some new and exciting changes, and we have heard from y'all on several things, and we've changed this one to make it much easier to use. The same is each region is going to have their own project, and you may have gotten an email recently or just today being given access to that project. This is the new online registration is going to take the place of RH telemedicine and CYSHCN telemedicine. So those are going to be eliminated. We're just going to have one online registration for each region. Another thing that we heard from you was if they just had an appointment within 2 weeks and none of their demographic data has changed, and we just need to get them in for a follow-up treatment or the second or third syphilis shot, we can just send out the consents and them not have to go through all of the full registration. So that made it a little bit easier. And then we're going to talk a little bit more about the branching logic, which makes it much easier on the clerical to schedule. Couple of differences. The telemedicine registration, it used to be two different projects, one for reproductive health and one for CSHS. And now all the programs who use Entergy are built into one online registration REDCap. And that does include reproductive health, CSHS immunizations, and TB. Some of the benefits that we have heard also, we piloted this in Region 8, and some of the benefits that were identified was that it's the same workflow as the face-to-face, just an electronic version. You can do the registration at your convenience before the visit, and it's simple and easy for the patient to complete. We've also added something that we'll go over in a minute where the patient, if they don't have everything together at the same time, they can save their progress and then come back to that same um, survey without you having to send it back out. It definitely will save time, improve efficiency, decrease errors, and we have customized this REDCap for each program. In the future, we can automatically send a customer satisfaction survey, and we're also keeping up with the latest and greatest technology. So let's talk about how we're going to do this. The steps for online registration, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to go over, and when you add a record, just like before, you're going to assign that to one of your data access groups. So, you know, if whatever clinic that is sending this out, you're going to bring down your clinic. And then you're going to, of course, add edit record, new record, and it's still the same with the enrollment. So a lot of this is going to be very familiar to you. What you need to complete is when you go into the enrollment, you'll complete today's date. It's going to default to today or whatever day that you're doing it. Complete the first, last name, date of birth, and email address. If they already have an appointment on the books and you're just getting the registration stuff ahead of time, you can go ahead and key in that appointment date if they already have an appointment. If they do not have an appointment, then you're going to leave this status as incomplete. But one of the beauties of this that Region 8 found out is the patients that already have an appointment, you can do that pre-registration ahead of time, and they already have an appointment on the book. So you're just going to change that to unverified, indicating they already have an appointment. But if they finish the REDCap, great. If they don't, then we'll just do it in person when they get there. And then you're going to save and exit the form. So what happens after that? After you save and exit that form, the REDCap will automatically immediately send an email to that patient with a link to the survey. And the new email states this. It lets them know that before they begin the survey, you really need to go ahead and have the proof of identity, proof of income, their insurance card, and a list of all of their medications, because those are things they're going to need to complete this new online survey. Watch your generic public health unit email address very closely, because of course we do get bounce back emails. Perhaps we transposed a letter in the email or didn't put a period somewhere, so just watch that closely. And then the record status dashboard is very similar to what you're used to. You're going to watch it for those that are complete. When they're green, that means that they're complete and it's ready for you to go in and pull off the information and do your workflow there. If it only has one red dot, that means that it's been sent, but the patient hasn't started it yet. And then if it has a yellow check, that means they started it, but they didn't complete it. Um, they will be able to go back to key in their email address and get a link to go back in and fix it. But if you notice this is staying at the yellow check mark, you may want to follow up with them in a day or so and see if they need help or if you do need to resend it out. One of the other things that we did notice with Region 8 is there's certain fields that are mandatory to complete. If they don't complete everything and they just exit out, then it's going to look like this. It's going to be incomplete, and you'll go in there and see if they, what they didn't finish. You may have to call them and get their household assessment or whatever, or get that when they come in if they were not able to upload it. I was telling you about, if they don't have everything at the same time when they're doing their red cap, then they have the option to save their progress and come back at a later date. If they hit that option to save, then this is going to pop up where they can enter their email address right here, and it's going to send a survey link so that they can click on that new link to go back where they left off. So we were talking about branching logic, and this project is set up where certain questions are asked based on the answer to the previous question. So one of the first things we ask in this project is what program or service are they interested in? And so reproductive health, but some people don't know what reproductive health is. So we've spelled out a lot of different things that we do in reproductive health: TB, immunization, CSHS, and then other. So let's just go through a scenario. Let's say that they chose reproductive health. And then let's say they chose annual exam 39 years and younger. If they choose that, then it's the red cap is all automatically designed if these, depending on what they choose, is if telemedicine will be offered or not. If they choose, of course, 39 or younger, then it's going to offer a telemedicine appointment. They will either opt in for telemedicine or they can opt out. If they say yes, they're interested in telemedicine, then it's going to just make sure that they have access to an electronic device, Wi-Fi, or mobile data. If they say yes, then the both LDH and telemedicine consent will pop up for them to sign. If they say no to telemedicine, then in the end, the only thing that will pop up is the LDH consent. This again is showing what it looks like when it's completed, when it's ready to be pulled off. This shows that this patient is interested in telemedicine, but if there's nothing under telemedicine, that doesn't mean that it's not completed. It just means that either they chose an appointment that wasn't consistent with what we can do in telemedicine, or they opted out. So when you see greens, then it's ready to be pulled. Very similar to what we've been doing. To pull the red cap, you're going to click on the blue hyperlink of the record ID number. You're going to download the zip file and also download the compact instruments PDF. It's going to pop up on your bottom of your left screen, and you click on it, and that's where you can save that to your Entergy scan folder. And this is where you'll have your pictures so you can move those over into the images for ID and insurance card. You will use the PDF for all the questions you would ask the patient, just like they were face-to-face. So it mimics exactly the workflow that you go through whenever the patient's sitting right in front of you. So make sure that you go and update Entergy according to what they typed out on the red cap. You're going to save the pics to the ID part and the insurance screens. And then you're going to save that PDF, which contains your consent forms, into the images. Go ahead and run your insurance eligibility and make sure you correct if there's any insurance eligibility errors. Now, making an appointment. So this makes it a lot easier to know if they're wanting telemedicine or if they're not. If they're not, then you're going to go ahead and update all of your stuff in Entergy, and you're going to make an in-person appointment with the appropriate provider location based on the appointment type that they need. However, if you do notice that both LDH and telemedicine consents are signed, there's one thing you need to do to verify that the clinical staff don't need an in-person appointment with that patient and the patient just not know. So you're going to task to the clinical team to make sure that that face-to-face visit is not required. And then the clinical team's going to look up in their chart, just make sure their PAP's not due, make sure that their STI screenings are okay, make sure there's nothing that they need to follow up with hands-on, and then they're going to reply back to you either needs face-to-face appointment or they're going to say telemedicine is fine. And after you hear back from the clinical team, that's when you're going to schedule the telemedicine according to the telemedicine workflow. Or if they wanted telemedicine and they have to have an in-person visit for whatever reason, then you'll just call the patient and say, hey, clinical team said it's time for your PAP or whatever. We need an in-person appointment if possible. Okay, so we were talking about the revisits within 2 weeks. And one of the things that Region 8 identified that this was very handy for was whenever we see a patient and they need to come back for treatment only, or when they're doing the syphilis bacillin every week for 3 weeks, we can just send the consent form to get signed instead of the whole survey. So in order to do that, there's a little trick we have to do to trick the system into it sending it out to the patient. So whenever you need to send out an in-person, you can click one of two places. You can either click the plus sign here to send the LDH consent, or you can come down here and hit add new, and it'll do the same thing. If they're going to be a telemedicine repeat appointment, you're going to do both of these plus signs, or add new and add new. As soon as you do that, it's going to pop up like you're going to complete the consent. And what you need to do is scroll down and you're going to click that it's self filling out the LDH consent. And then when you save and exit, it's going to tell you you didn't fill out a whole bunch of fields. At this point, you're going to hit OK. And then you'll be able to compose the survey invitation. I'll go over this on the demo in just a second. And you will also get these slides so that you can refer back. Make sure that you pull down the generic health unit email address here. Once you pull this down, it's automatically going to have the patient's email address that we've sent it to in this box. Just pull it down. Subject would be consent forms to sign, and then you're just going to hit send invitation. How to tell if the second consent is complete, it will go from red to green as soon as they've signed it. So you'll know they're ready for their second appointment to be made. So I have to say a huge shout out and thank you to Region 8. They came up with some amazing workflow that I never thought about. And so a little bit of feedback from them was about this project, that it saves time before the patient gets there. And the clerks were able to get done quicker because a lot of people weren't interrupting you when you were trying to do it. The other thing is because we're so short staffed, one health unit was able to cross cover if another was short staffed. They also came up with the idea of using the unverified so they could go ahead and get the pre-registrations done on the patients that had appointments already, which I thought was a great idea. And once you complete the online registration, you upload the consents to Entergy, do your demographic update, insurance eligibility verification, you can actually mark that patient as confirmed as a way to communicate with your colleagues that you've done the red cap and all that. Now, still when the patient gets there or the day of the telemedicine, you still need to go through and make sure that you check that privacy tab where it's yes and yes to say that they signed the consent. And also just make sure that everything was done. But that's a great way to use that confirmed appointment in Entergy. If you'll give me just 1 second, I want to flip over to the demo. All right. Um, all right, y'all should be able to see my red cap screen. Chat in if you can't see it. This is what it will look like from here on out. Each region has their own online registration, and you have 1 week to get the data out of your old projects that you need. So for instance, when you go in here, if there's a patient that you haven't pulled off yet, go ahead and get that pulled off. And from here on out, you're going to start putting patients into the new registrations. Um, just 1 second. All right. Can you see my screen now, Jeffrey? So again, just to review.
I can see your screen,
You
Tammy.
can? Okay, good,
Mhm.
thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so just to review, you have these old projects, you have a week before we're gonna turn these as inactive. We're not gonna delete the data, but we are gonna make them inactive. So starting forward, go ahead and start putting patients into your new. I went ahead and put some sample patients into my online registration database. Let's look and see what it looks like. When you go to record status dashboard, this is what you can see. This where it's red and then it has the greens here, what that's telling you at a glance is that patient wants a telemedicine appointment and no appointment has been given yet, so it's ready to pull off. Make an appointment and put that appointment into your enrollment. Go ahead and put your appointment date here, and then you can mark it as complete. That would take care of that patient. Here, this is a patient who, for whatever reason, started the survey and didn't finish it. What I would do with this is watch this, and if it doesn't go to all greens within 24 hours, you may need to call this patient and just see if they need some help, see if that you need to resend the link out to them. Maybe they just didn't put their email in so that they could save their progress, and now they can't find their link. So just follow up with them if this stays yellow or orange, whatever that is, for longer than 24 hours. This patient has completely completed all of their consents. She does want a telemedicine appointment and she's had an appointment made, so she's done. When you sort by your dashboard, if you sort according to, you can sort according to last name or appointment date, but just make sure that it's only green when everything is done. The Deborah here, let's say she already has an appointment made for an in-person appointment. You can go ahead and mark this as unverified, which is yellow, indicating that you're sending her the online. And if they want to fill it out online, that would be great. You can do all that stuff ahead of time. But if she doesn't fill it out, she's already got an appointment and we'll just do it when she gets there. One of the questions, how far in advance of an appointment can a patient fill out online registration? I would probably say 2 weeks because, you know, a lot can change in 2 weeks, their number, their address, who knows, but I would say 2 weeks, if that helps. Deborah, anything else about that?
No, I think it's spot on.
Okay, cool.
Great.
Cool. Okay, so let's say that Miss Laura needs to come back for her syphilis treatment, and it's been just 1 week since she was here. So we're going to do an additional consent form. So we're going to click this new, and this is where I was telling you we've got to trick the system, trick it into saying that they clicked something and just didn't finish it. So I'm going to come here and click self, and I'm going to save and exit. Then it pops up with all those fields that are required, but I'm not going to fill out all the consent. So I'm just going to say, okay. When you do that, it allows you to come down here, compose survey invitation, so you can mail out just this consent. So we're going to compose that survey, drop this down to wherever you're sending it from, bring down, and that's going to be her email address. And here you can just put consent signature needed, just so that she knows, you know, what it is about, and hit send invitation. And immediately she's going to get just this form to complete. What you're going to see on your status dashboard now is a blue indicator, meaning that there's multiple LDH consent for services that's out there. To see if she's completed it, you go into her record and you see that it's red, so she hasn't completed it yet. Okay, so that's the way you'll know that she has multiple, and then you have to actually go into the record to see if she has completed. Now, if she needs a telemedicine consent as well, you can hit new and then go ahead and just, oh, I chose something that wasn't compatible with telemedicine, so it's not going to let me, but you would just hit new and it would go through the same process. Let's pause here to go back and show you, to take some questions. Okay. I've been kind of watching the chat. You can *6 if you have any questions for us.
Tammy, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, you said that if they've come in within 2 weeks, all you need to do is resend consents. What if it's been like 6 weeks and nothing's changed, you know, their address and their insurance? Can you still just resend the consent, or does the whole process need to be completed?
I'm going to have to defer to Deborah on that. I think we had said 2 weeks because they do move around so much. I don't have a problem with it as long as we verify nothing's changed, but Deborah, do you have thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Yeah, we did discuss that. I agree. I think it's okay to do it that way, as long as the information is still the same.
Okay, and I have one more question. In the old Red Cap, it kept track of everybody, like 1 through 2000, and they never went away. Is this going to be the same way?
It will. It's going to start over at 1. However, what we can do, and what I'd like to do is identify if we are going to send out patient satisfaction surveys on this? If so, then once they complete the satisfaction survey, those can be, we can pull that data and those can be removed. But right now it is going to do that. Just make sure that you're filtering your what do you call that? When you go to record status dashboard and you're displaying the correct dashboard, make sure that you're seeing the appointment date so that it makes those ones that are like in the past down at the very bottom, and you'll float up the ones that don't have an appointment date to the top.
Okay, so for my region, I'm the one that deletes inactive requests, like they didn't fill out their paperwork, they decided not to fill it out. If we have any inactive, we'll still delete that part that they even started and just finish.
I am so glad that you mentioned that. That's one thing I forgot to add. Everybody now has the ability to delete a record. So it was very burdensome on the regional staff to have to delete all of these records. So now let me show you. Let's say that, let's say Haley has decided that she doesn't need an appointment, and we can take her out. So in order to do that, you'll go into the record number, the number 2, go up to choose action for record, and you can delete that record. Just be careful, because once you delete that record, it's deleted. But that was one barrier where we heard from the regional leadership staff that they would love to have their staff have that ability to do that themselves. So everybody now has that ability. Okay, so any other questions? Who, what, when, where, why? Okay. Well, hearing none, we are supposed to make this a nugget and short, sweet, and concise. I will go ahead and let you scan this with your smartphone so that you can send in the evaluation and let us know how this was for you. You can also always email me or Deborah if you have any questions. And I have thoroughly enjoyed it, guys. I hope this helps everybody.
When will this be uploaded into Moodle?
I would say probably by tomorrow. I will work on it tonight and get it uploaded.
What about yesterday's? Is that one going to be uploaded as well, or the training from yesterday?
Yeah, that one will be uploaded. I haven't had a chance. I'm not sure who exactly recorded it. I don't know if it came back onto my email, but yes, that will be. I'm trying to get the toolkit together so I can get that out to you all for tomorrow as well. So both should be together, the recording and the.
Awesome.
Mhm.
All right, everybody. So that's all I have for you. Daniela, do you and your team have anything that you'd like to say? All right.
No, Tammy, you did great. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. All right, guys. Well, as soon as y'all finish your scanning your QR code, you're welcome to drop off. I'm going to hang out just a little bit, and I'll be here for any questions if you need.
Thanks so much, Tammy, for presenting, and thanks everyone for attending.
Thank you.